California versus everybody. What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. The other day I was asked a question during a live, and it's actually a question that I've been asked often over the years. And this time it had to do with the main state that people ask me about a lot. And the question was, why is it that when the dudes from Arizona were whacking California guys in their prison system, why didn't the California dudes over here in the state whack the Arizona guys, right? Now, I think there's a lot of people that outside of the two states, well, outside of the Southwest, there's a lot of people that don't know that there was friction. There was some stuff that was going on between California and Arizona. Now, there's no way I'm going to get into any of the details of that, but I'll say this. The vast majority of that was in the feds. I never did Fed time, right? But I do remember a discussion about it. And I want to say it was probably around 1996. And we had heard about it. And one thing about me is I always give credit where credit's due. Again, I was never in the feds. I did all my time in the state. We heard that there was some stuff going on in the feds. And I also was told that the dudes from Arizona were no punks. They were trying to handle their business just like the dudes from California, you know. So I'm going to start with that, right? As far as what the dudes in Arizona were doing and are doing probably to this day, it's the same thing that a lot of these other states do when dudes from California come. They check their temperature. They don't want them trying to establish roots. I get it. You know, in a lot of these other states, there are California representation, or there is California representation. Now, is it going to be to an extent to where it's a threat to them? Absolutely not. They're out of bounds. But there's small pockets in different states, and it's not just Raza. You have Crips and probably Bloods and other states that originated from California. In answering the question about why California dudes, specifically, it's always been because I don't remember the Northerners ever getting into any issues with anybody from out of state in the state. But as far as the question about why were the dudes from Arizona allowed to walk the main line in California? California is a different beast. It's a different animal. It's a humongous system. Up until the feds stepped in, the federal courts stepped in and forced California to reduce their population. Before that, California had the highest prison population. Now it's Texas, right? And our system is very big out here, very political, but there's an agenda. If there's, look, in all my years in the California Department of Corrections, I know for a fact I ran into at least two dudes from Arizona, and I ran into at least two dudes from New Mexico, and I even ran into a guy in New Folsom who was from New York. So the at least 5 people that I just mentioned, every single one of them housed with Southerners, ran with Southerners, participated in the Southerner program. There was never any animosity. You meet a vato on the yard, you meet a guy in the yard, hey, Holmes, I'm so-and-so from Arizona. You'd be like, well, all right, Holmes, I'm so-and-so. Whoop. Out here, you don't get to just be a bully. That's one thing in out here in California is if you're raza, you're not gonna be, bullying's not allowed, eh? Just because a dude is from another state, because I've been asked, like I said, I've been asked this question a lot of times from people from a lot of different places. My answer is always the same. If you get caught for something in California, make sure you say where you're from, right? But always conduct yourself like a man. Have all your interactions be respectful. Understand how to do your time, mind your own business, and you'll be fine. Once somebody comes and they get comfortable, and I don't care if they can be from here, because that's the majority of it. You'll see dudes, they'll pull up in an institution, and you see they're a little bit nervous, probably their first time, or they didn't do YA time, who knows, right? And you see they're a little nervous. A year later, the nerves are gone. They're used to the program. Then they start feeling a little cocky, sticking their nose in business that isn't theirs. Maybe they picked up a dope habit. Maybe they got a gambling habit. And then prison will do what prison does. As soon as you fall out of line, you catch it, right? But I never, not once. So the at least 5 dudes that I mentioned, not once did I see any of them dudes get hit. The dudes from Arizona or New Mexico. One of the dudes from New Mexico, his name was Johnny Peppers. He wound up killing himself in Pelican Bay behind the family visits. And I think he had probably done time in New Mexico. And I don't know how their system runs over there. But what he didn't understand and what was not being verbalized, even amongst the Southerners, let alone somebody who's from New Mexico, was a lot of the guys on the yard. They actually wanted to get off. They wanted to do something to let the CDC know, you take our family visits, this is going to continue. However, word had came down from the legends. Ain't nothing gonna happen over that. They're gonna take it. Fuck that shit. And so there were grumblings in the shadows. Damn, how the fuck am I gonna keep my lady around? How the fuck am I gonna see my kids? This and that. But that was dudes who trusted who they were speaking with. And I was there when Johnny Peppers. Actually, I landed on A facility. I just got out of the SHU in 1997, and I landed on A yard. And one of the dudes that was a friend of mine was part of the leadership on A facility, right? And we were just happened to be sitting there talking, and Johnny Peppers walked up, and he mentioned the conjugal visits, and hey, man, we got to do something about it. And there were a couple dudes from New Mexico that felt that I was being disrespectful. I'm not being disrespectful. He was literally told, just like anyone would have been told, hey, Holmes, don't worry about that, Holmes. It's none of your business. It was nobody's business because it had come down from above. That shit's over. Fuck those visits. Keep running the program. Keep getting that money. And then I got moved from A facility to B facility, from A yard to B yard in the Bay, right? Johnny Peppers was there. And again, he got at the leadership there. And same thing. He was just told like, hey, Holmes, nobody can do anything about that, Holmes. It's done. It's over with. And later that evening, he decided to end his life. But other than that, I never saw any of the dudes from out of state get hit. I know there were blacks even from New York, Chicago. I never saw them. I don't think any of the groups in California look at any other group when they come over here to do their time as a threat. Why would they? Why should they? Now, I think everybody from California knows Wes Watson right now. Perfect example. Wes Watson, if he's convicted and sentenced to prison in Florida, he's going to have a very rough time. For one, he's from California, so he was already going to get his heart checked, right? But the fact that he has created this whole image, this whole facade that every single prison he went to, he was the shot caller. He was the baddest dude. Now he's saying that a UFC dude can't whoop him and he'll tie people up. Hey, man. People want to know. Come on, California. Show me that. I get it. Californians have an arrogance about them. They do. Californians believe criminally they're more sophisticated than everyone else. I can't say whether that's true or not because I've never been in another system. But I do know how sophisticated the program is, and not everybody's a part of that part. That's what people don't understand either. There are dudes that have been down 10, 15 years right now, and they're still on a superficial level on their understanding of what's really going on in prison. And that's because they haven't shown that they have the ability to take it to another level. You know, I told the story about the guy that was so proud of all the work he put in, and the legend told him, yeah, all I see is a fucking idiot. I don't see you making money. I don't see you organizing nothing. I don't see you moving nothing. It's not impressive. So, long story short, out here in California, there's a certain program. There's so much money generated on those yards. And when somebody gets hit, it interferes with money. And if you're going to whack a dude because he's not from here, he might not owe you money. He might not owe your people money, but he might owe some other factions money. So, you know, I don't really like to get into all the details of all that type of stuff, but I'm just telling you right now. California dudes are not worried about anybody coming in. Anybody can come in. Any state, do your time, conduct yourself like a man, be respectful. Everything's fine. But, like I said, they all housed with Southerners, all the ones I met. And that's the thing. You're not going to come and say, well, I'm from this state, whatever state it is, so I run my own program. No, you're going to have to pick a side. And you're going to know what you're going to know based on where you got busted, what county. You're going to know who you're going to run with. And you're going to stick with them. So, I don't know if that cleared the air, because I know there's a lot of people, like the dude that asked me was like adamant, like, no, but them dudes over there in Arizona are whacking dudes from California. Well, dudes from California went over there and planted some seeds. If they came over here and were able to plant seeds, I'm sure dudes from California would be pissed. The difference is there's really no real estate out here for anybody to do that, right? Not something new. Anyways, that's my video for today, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out of here.
Welcome to Vario Liquors, home of the coldest beer in the 209. Chilled to a perfect 32 degrees. From mix and go drink kits to both classic and exotic spirits, we've got something for everyone. Visit us at 1870 Countryside Drive, Turlock, California. Catch you at the Vario.